Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Spectrum wants to hear your views. You can SMS at any time during the show. Type Spectrum, leave a space, type in your contribution and name, then send it to 7197. Your views, our interviews on Spectrum, Radio 1 FM 90.
Hello, a very warm welcome. This is Spectrum on Radio 1. I'm your host, Edmond Kizito. On Spectrum tonight, how does government rate the performance of KCCA 2 years after taking over Kampala? Also, what is its take on the Wrangles that are frustrating leadership and service delivery? Some 2 years ago, the central government took over the management of Kampala Capital City after Parliament passed the Kampala Capital City Authority Act, in which new structures, including an office of the executive director and the rank of a permanent secretary, was established. Among the justifications given was to improve service delivery and also end mass theft of funds, evidenced under the old KCC, which many thought had become Adenauth Fields. This was supposed to stop politicians, who were perceived to be the problem, from controlling funds and managing the technical staff. This would mean that the mayor, now referred to as the Lord Mayor, and other elected leaders, referred to in the act as the authority, would only be ceremonial. Now, some 2 years down the road, KCCA is famous for the unending wrangles between the authority and the technical arm, which is led by the executive director, to the extent that some important work has actually stalled. Reports about misuse of funds and extravagance have been reported, with some officials saying to be pocketing by, large amounts of money by Ugandan standards in salaries. The Lord Mayor claims that the executive director has refused to account to the KCCA Council, which appropriates the budget. Reports also indicate that the Lord Mayor is under investigation by the Inspector General of Government, a development some people think is politically motivated. Kampala has a ministry that must ensure that the city is administered and developed as per the desired standards. This ministry has, however, failed to prevail over the KCCA Wrangles. And now the matters are before a committee of parliament following a petition by the Lord Mayor. So tonight on Spectrum will ask, how does government rate the performance of KCCA 2 years after it took over the capital? Also looking at the KCCA Act, is government confident that it has achieved its aims and objectives to trim the powers of political leaders? Is it too late for government to reconcile the wrangling parties and ensure that people of Kampala have services that they deserve? Our guest tonight, Hon Frank Tumwebaze, Minister in charge of the presidency and the Kampala Capital City. You're most welcome, Hon Frank Tumwebaze.
Thank you, Edmond, and good evening the listeners of Spectrum and Radio 1.
Who reports to the other, the Lord Mayor or the Executive Director?
Well, the law is very clear that Kampala Capital City Authority Act, which was passed by Parliament, Kampala City was given that status of being a city. It was upgraded from being a district. That's actually the confusion that still exists. Political leaders, mainly in the city, still look at that old arrangement of a council, of the management being wholly responsible to council. The roles of the ED are very well defined in the Act, and they include the following: to implement the government policy. Okay, that's one. And when they talk of government policy, they mean the central government. That's why there is a minister for Kampala who represents central government in as far as the management of the city is concerned. So the chief executive, the ED or the executive director, is the agent of the central government. We can fire her, we can withdraw her, so she must, and she's the advisor to the authority council on the policy of government. In other words, if the authority is to pass a policy of its own at their level, it must be consistent with the government policy. That's why the minister, under Section 79, is given so much power to veto, to take action where the authority has failed, to disallow something he or she considers illegal that the authority has done. So you have the ED, okay? Yes, he's answerable to the authority in as far as implementing the decisions of the authority, which are not in conflict with central government is concerned. But by and large, she is answerable to central government. She's an accounting officer. Actually, if you read the constitution and you read other accountability acts like the Public Finance and Accountability Act, the roles of accounting officer cut across. He or she is personally liable, okay, for funds, and his or her decisions in as far as management and implementation of programs are concerned is independent. You are independent, but you are accountable. You see, that should be separated.
Yes.
Yes. The roles are deliberately separated. But now somehow the confusion that exists, you want to see attempts to fuse the two. You want to see the political arm, they want to be managers. Now if now that one is fused, who will account the other? You get the point. But the question in your preamble, how do we rate KCCA? Well, we may not have carried out a scorecard to determine where it was and where it is now. But without prejudice, without bias, without really politics of any form, there are visible changes. They are really visible and glaring changes, which anybody in Kampala can see. You get the point?
Yes.
We have slight improvement. I am trying to call it slight, not to blow our own trumpet. There is slight improvement. It could be much more, but there is slight improvement in cleanliness in the city. You get the point? That's there. There is slight improvement in our roads. The roads. There is slight improvement and governance of local revenue. Local revenue now is in billions. Now the question is, in 2 years, okay? Why has this revenue increased? That means it was even there before, but mismanaged, eaten, pocketed. Systems were really not clear. So most of the work in Kampala that you see are done with a big support of locally generated revenue. And sometimes that's where the clash comes from. You have a status quo that used to be there hitherto. Now, management is coming in a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more tough. They want every penny receipted, not this business of paying here and you get this service, not even documented. Now, when you are eliminating all those not so good actions that have illegally sustained the livelihoods of many, you are bound to face stiff resistance. There's no question about it. And the Committee of Parliament asked me, what do you think is the problem? I said, well, much as I've been in office for 2 months, I can't conclusively tell you the problem. But the obvious one is, when you are changing a culture that has been there for years, a culture of impunity. You had markets here in the city called UID. That was impunity. Political groupings given markets. That therefore tells you that there were even political leaders who were even financing their political activities from council revenue. This is clear. Only that, of course, we as government and NRM, our culture of talking so much sometimes has made us get sidelined in as far as media attention is concerned. But that's clear. You had the market called UID market. Okay? All the land you hear in the city, the problems of the tax park that resulted in huge compensations, selling of these vendors' markets. These were decisions of an NRM politicians in the city. This was very clear. So now that's when the government said, no, Kampala Capital City is a city for all Ugandans. It is the first point of contact with the external world. All visitors, high and mighty, low, come here. So he said, let's avoid its status. So people need to appreciate. And I can tell you, if you put a vote on the street, okay, and you removed the political biases, me as an NRM politician, I can be bashed, okay, by those who don't like NRM for many reasons. But I can tell you, I have watched, I have listened to your media polls, to your commentaries, even non-NRM hardcore supporters, those who really feel NRM is their worst choice, they give credit to the Musisi administration, to the management, for really taking on. The other day they demolished the building of opposite
Spear Motors
here.
in the city.
In the city.
Photon building.
Yes. And there were allegations that it is linked to the brother of the president. You know, they are always quick to bring in the name of the president, those who want him punished. We never saw the president deploying soldiers to stop Musisi from doing that. You get the point? So
Yes.
the determination of management professionals to say the rule is X, let's follow it, and not bend it, it's a big war. And those wrangles you hear emanate from that. Of course, challenges will always be there when a new institution is starting. You remember when we were introducing VAT? Let me give you a simple example.
Yes.
Here, VAT tax. There were riots. But through sensitization,
1996.
yes, people understood that any government must charge tax, that VAT was not a strange creation of the Ugandan government, it was applied elsewhere. People accepted it. They learned it as an input and output tax. So long as you earn a penny, you add value to that, then you pay some government some money and you recover it. Then of course at the end, the one who consumes, it's actually a consumption tax.
Right.
So really, these changes, some oppose them because they are been benefiting illegally though from the old status. Others are politicking. That angle I must bring it in. Yes, there are those who say we have always monopolized the Kampala politically. The NRM cannot come in through management. We want to own it. We want decisions over this. That's why you hear about land board, about physical plans.
Okay.
Yes. So it's about politicizing for platforms. But to be very honest, the agenda of government in Kampala is not really politics. We won elections all over Uganda when we lost Kampala. You get the point?
Yes.
So losing in Kampala had never been a threat to us. But time has come to say Kampala is the face of Uganda. Whether politics or no politics, we must put order and create it.
Let's try to look at the structures of KCCA. What has changed structurally? You mentioned the old standards.
Yeah.
Many people were thrown out when jobs were advertised. Mayor Lukwago is a new man in the city council. He's not been there before.
Yes.
And now you talk about old structures. Who was at the top of those old structures that you see are fighting the new changes?
Well, they were stakeholders. They were stakeholders. To be sincere, we had DP cadres controlling all over. And I'm even happy. I heard the other day, they were saying, there is one staff they were talking about, it's Sanura, who is employed by KCCA. They were saying, Yalimu DP nothing. So I am happy that the management at KCC now does not look at that affiliation. You see, for them, they knew. You get the point. Mayor Rukwago, I wouldn't have much problem with Mayor Rukwago if Mayor Rukwago was embracing and appreciating one fact.
Yes.
That in the last parliament, where he was a proud member, we passed a law that gave central government autonomy over Kampala. Because if you read that act, I didn't carry it. The authority administers the city on behalf of central government.
Well, but the authority is also defined as the councillors, the Lord Mayor and the councillors. That technically speaking.
Yeah, there are components of it. That there has been a debate in parliament. Authority is an entity because it can sue and be sued.
Yes.
So you can't call it people. People are those who compose
Of the authority.
It is broad. So, and to me, that debate really is for argument's sake. It can be resolved by the legal people. The question is, how can that authority coexist? You get the point? With the management arm.
Let's look at some of the key indicators, the things that trouble people in the city. Garbage collection.
Yeah.
Can you give us some figures on that? Garbage collection, potholes filling, traffic management.
Well, I did not carry the statistics.
Give us some synopsis.
But let me give you a simple example. Look at the road. Look at Karewe. Let's go to Karewe. I used to stay in Kanyanya. Look at the notorious road, Karewe roundabout. Go there. It's shining. Look at Clock Tower. Some improvement. The jam is not as it used to be. It's not yet done. Look at Ginger Ginger Road, the beautification done, the entire Ginger Road. Look at our road where to Muzevidan, where he stays.
Chiwatule.
Yeah, look at it, without any issues. Look at Kisas Road. Yes, the Wakaraga issues.
Yeah.
Wakaraga in Rubaga. So that's the 2 years now we're talking about. With that, with those wrangling, look at the lights. Leave alone being people stealing them day to day. The entire Corona stretch was, but people steal them. So what I told the KCCA is, I think they need to engage service providers, even if they may be expensive, that provide lights with those grooves that more or less insulate the entire light holder.
So you can't steal it.
Yes. So what really would be concentrating on, jointly both by the politicians and the managers, is how do we eliminate the challenges rather than engaging in political fights. Because the question is, I was in Parliament the other day, they were asking me, Lord Mayor and ED, who is the head of the other?
We still want to know.
Yes, I also don't want to know, because the law does not say that. What the law says, it puts the work of the ED down. It puts the work of the Lord Mayor down. So my question is, have we seen a stalemate of anything in as far as each doing his or her work because of lack of that express? Because they say the Lord Mayor is a political head.
Yes.
The ED is the head of the management.
The technical side.
What's wrong with that? I am a minister, for heaven's sake. I have a PS in my ministry. I am a political head of the ministry.
Just like the Lord Mayor is political head.
Yes.
And the ED is permanent secretary.
Yes. So my permanent secretary.
So the Lord Mayor is boss. Even though he gets a lower salary, you've given us the parallel of a minister,
yes.
the permanent secretary.
Yes.
You are head because you're minister, the
yes.
permanent secretary is below you.
Yes.
The ED is PS,
yes.
Lukwago is minister.
Yes.
So.
Now let's go with that scenario.
Yes.
But what my PS does, okay, she implements those political decisions of that fall within my mandate, which are cabinet decisions. But I don't direct her on what payment to make. I don't even know how much money, as we talk, is on the account of office of the president. She can withhold the payment. She can cancel contract. Independent, high independent assessment. The rationale of that, or why the law gives him or her that power, is because of assuming rightly so that you were appointed on your competencies as a professional. So me, a politician, I could be an S6 dropout minimum, much as I am privileged to be above that. So your decision shouldn't be subject to my judgment, but you will account to me in another fora. That's why they are Auditor General's report. That's why when you said that ED refusal to account, look, account to who? Now the question is, has the management of KCCA failed to be audited by the Auditor General? Their reports got back. Now maybe the accountability they should be talking about is maybe coming to the authority meetings to account.
Yes.
But when you hear another story, which really to me I have not been wanting to emphasize so much and involve, I've been trying to play the role of mediation, so that people can really come together. But someone tells you, how do I go to a meeting that is not convened?
Well, the ED, some of the allegations, we don't know the truth of the veracity of it. The ED has been sabotaging those meetings, telling people not to show up in those meetings, and the mayor gets it.
We've asked those questions, and we failed to get the evidence. We've asked those questions. I have met councillors. The councillors have gone to Parliament. It's really a ping-pong, Edmond. Accusation, counter-accusation. And to me, that's not what the people of Kampala would want. I have told my two friends, ED and Mayor, that I don't care whether you're friends, you guys, or not.
Provided you deliver.
Provided you work together in the framework of the law. Clear. Do not stop on the one fail to do your work, covering up for this. And to be very honest, I have told them, if the road mayor is right on a few things, I will support you. If the ED is wrong, I will say, here you're not right. And I will be guided by the law. You get it? And disagreement is not bad, Edmond. We're here in this studio, I could disagree with you. It doesn't mean that the next time I will not come back to Spectrum. Yes. So, but by and large, we should be really optimistic about Kampala, because the changes are visible. However much people are alarmed by the conflicts, by the noise, the changes are visible.
Well, I mean, they are visible, but some of the people will say, you know, there are lots of opportunities. We could get much more if those two people will agree.
That's true. That's true. We could get more if the leaders could respect one another. That's why we must address ourselves on the question of politicizing each and everything. That's even not for KCCA alone. You have seen us in Parliament politicize each and every matter, and sometimes fail to pass a decision that would have quickly fixed a few problems for the country. So that's now an issue we must address collectively. Why do people politicize each and everything? The other day, without really trying to invoke sentiments, some of us were denied an opportunity to pay deserving urologists to our late sister Edmond. People were saying this in Wrangles, government killed, the people of Mutaleja regard the government as a killer. The same people have just voted the government. So the allegations, the propaganda notwithstanding. So sometimes we political leaders, I don't want even to exalt myself, we are all political players. Ugandans should take what we say with a pinch of salt. Even this corruption, I can tell you here.
Yes.
Sometimes we use it as a political tool instead of discussing how do we solve the problem, how do we empower Ugandans to demand accountability themselves before even corruption takes place. We want to use political corruption talk to hit each other. But we do not discuss Kazin is in court. Okay? Why don't we also say, police, thank you so much. What do you want? Is the DPP chambers fully constituted to make sure that the criminal case moves very fast, and say that after that, then you can constitute civil proceedings to recover stolen funds? The debate does not address those pertinent issues. They pick on the political sentiments. Government is not moving. Government has no political will. Then one thing is, this one is arrested because he's from this region. So, can we take out politics in the management of public affairs? So KCC is one institution. Let me tell you the institutions where politics has not been, and you've seen total delivery.
Where is that?
URA.
You want to run the CCT authority as the URA?
I wouldn't have any regrets on that. Because actually, let's even discuss it from an institutional expert point of view.
Yes.
When you talk of a government authority, take of NEMA, NFA, they are presumed to be independent bodies, independent even from the ministry. What the government does is just political supervision.
Yes.
Are you sticking to the law? But now the problem we have, and some people proposed the amendments in the committee, is you have an authority that you've put in place to professionalize Kampala. That's why you have things like a metropolitan physical planning authority, whose work is to approve and design the structure plan of the entire metropolitan, the underground trains, the railway, the buses, and all of that. That one is done by professional planners, by architects, by name them, by all disciplined authorities. Now, but within the same authority, presumed to be independent, you create a political arm. Now, there is that contestation. So it's like you are giving Kampala Capital Authority power to do what is right that we deserve, but you are again taking it away. This dilemma, you want them to evict people in wetlands. Okay? If you wanted their decision to first be subjected to a political legislative body.
Elected representatives.
Nobody would ever think it's the same. It's the same approach to Kampala. Would you expect councillors of the Kampala Capital City to sit in the authority and pass a resolution to demolish illegal structures? They can never.
This is Spectrum Radio. Want to go for a break? We'll be back to stay tuned.
Uganda Communications Commission is currently conducting nationwide mandatory SIM card registration. Register your SIM card in a few easy steps. Visit your telecom operator's customer care center or any other designated registration center and provide your phone number, a copy of a valid ID or any other valid ID with accompanying photograph such as a passport, driver's permit, voter's card, or a letter from your LC. Information on your physical address or residence will also be required. SIM card registration protects mobile phone users from incidences of fraud, incitement, terrorism, and hate messages, among others. Please note that SIM card registration is mandatory, and those who fail to register risk having their SIM cards deactivated. The registration deadline is 1st March 2013. All information shall remain confidential. Let's make communication safe. Register your SIM card today.
The Call of the Wild this Valentine's with Reds. Buy Reds and win a getaway for 2 to the Wild Waters Lodge, plus other amazing prizes. See present posters for details or visit your favorite bar or supermarket. Happy Valentine's Day from
Reds. Crisp, clean apple taste.
Not for sale to persons under 18.
Ça va, hello. My name is Kogole Andemina, very serious Congolese tailor. People see me when they want to look good. People leave my shop looking like superstars of TV. But however much I make you look beautiful or even sexy like me, I cannot change the person inside, the real you. Kind of like Uganda Waraji. It has this beautiful look, but inside they have maintained the same old spirit that we know. The same old spirit we have known for many years in a new suit. New look. Oh, you need to try it.
Enjoy the new look Uganda Waraji. The same Ugandan spirit with a new look. Uganda Waraji. Same spirit, new look. Excessive consumption of alcohol is harmful to your health. Not for sale to persons under 18 years. Please drink responsibly. Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Welcome back on Spectrum tonight. How does government rate the performance of KCCA 2 years after taking over Kampala? Also, what is its position on the Wrangles that are frustrating leadership and service delivery? Our guest, Hon Frank Tumwebaze, Minister in charge of the presidency and Kampala Capital City. You will be able to call in and contribute to this discussion. Let's talk about these Wrangles. How do we end them once for all? Let's assume you had the powers tomorrow. What would you do? Keep the mayor or keep the ED?
The Wrangles will end them by Parliament has now intervened. I hope there will be recommendations, because at the end of the day they need to know that nobody benefits from those Wrangles. We must move, and we as government we can't allow that. Where they fail to work, we shall move. But the question specifically is, if we are to think of maybe reforms in the law, we have to create that clear distinction. Okay, what should the management do? At what level should they interface with the political organ of the authority? Or should it continue to make sense to have the authority having a council, yet Kampala is no longer a capital city, is no longer a district? Or maybe the mayor and a few of those people can be there, but maybe are officers of parliament.
What do you mean?
They can be under parliament. Because it's oversight, that political oversight,
yes,
is a legislative arm. So to avoid really causing confusion, you could have them in parliament because of the special status of the city. I'm really giving a scenario,
right.
Not that I have any authoritative information about it. But all would be to let the management, one, implement the policies of government. But I have told you, the central government, today run by NRM. Okay? Supposing today our policy in Kampala, we say, crash all the buildings down. I'm using a bad one.
Extreme,
yes,
scenario.
Crash all the buildings down,
Yes.
Come up with a new city, like the Chinese were doing. And the Lord Mayor and the authority councillors say, we don't want that one. For us, we say, we want. Now, you have management, which is under obligation
to do what the
to
government
implement
does.
the government decision.
Yes.
So sorry, before we rush to blame the management, my brother Rukwagwa and myself and others, we should ask ourselves, when we were making this law, was not in parliament. It was ourselves who made the law. If the law has loopholes, let's now go and plan fix those loopholes. And I think there are loopholes. The loopholes are creating that sharing of power between the elected authority members and the management. How do you expect a physical planner, okay, an engineer, an expert who has designed Joburg City, assuming he's your engineer or your metropolitan consultant,
Yes.
he gives you his advice based on professional competencies. All you need to look at as a politician, does it create value for money sense? That's all. Because in terms of profession, he will just fight for you. Supposing the political organ, either out of lacking professional competence to appreciate it, or political reasons, someone feels that's not good for his or her political mileage,
Or they should take it to their constituents, whatever.
Exactly. Someone says, we don't support that. That consultant will back and go out. The metropolitan you envisaged to plan broadly and really put to international standards, you won't realize it.
So you're saying the politicians are really taking too much time. They should be going to do other things.
They are not taking too much time. They are trying to do their work. But what I think we should do is create a framework that allows the politician their own space somewhere, maybe in parliament.
Well, what space? Let's look at the URA, NFA, the National Roads Authority.
Yes.
They are doing their work in other places.
Yes.
Why don't you photocopy the same scenario?
More or less we're saying so. URA comes to parliament. They account to us.
Yes.
But parliament does not tell URA how to fight smugglers.
Lower taxes or whatever.
Yes. You see, they are independent there. Because I am also a potential taxpayer. Supposing now I have power to direct them on what to do when I'm abating the other crime of smuggling.
Right.
So that's the whole essence of giving the professional authority or management some space of independence. And then you wait for them
In parliament.
in parliament or in another body for accountability. That's it. That's why you are if you could say someone is beyond auditing or accountability, there then you would be making sense. But really the moment we continue to have this fusion, okay, you have this policy from government, you have the bylaw from the authority, you have the political leaders failing to meet. They are saying you are taking our power. I can tell you, even the courts failed not to entertain that petition of the Lord Mayor. The courts, why would the courts fail to do that? If there is any legal problem, they said, you people,
Go and resolve it.
go and resolve them. In their wisdom, there was nothing legal and substantive.
Right.
People were just being stubborn to appreciate this and the other.
Of course, the law leaves a lot of gaps. There are lacunas in it.
Yes, so now, to avoid that, therefore, my proposal, and I think maybe at the right time we need to discuss it formally, is draw a clear distinction. How do you make the people of Kampala elect their leaders? And those leaders of theirs, where do they sit? Should it be in the authority council
Or go to parliament.
or go to parliament?
Finally, before we leave this panel, I'd like to talk about substantive issues, forget about politics. Get yourself out of your position.
Yes.
5 years from now,
Yes.
what is the scenario? What could happen? And what do you think, if you had to advise technically, what kind of KCCA would you like to have? Purely technical, with people in parliament overseas.
Yes, for example now, we are trying to resolve the issues of transport. As government government, we are trying to say public transport is a public good. Parliament the other day resolved, and they cautioned us on that, and we agreed. Okay? Now, you heard of Pioneer.
Yes.
Which has issues, but which many members of the public welcomed. And up to now, despite the challenges of exclusivity of lanes and so forth. So, all Kampala has been, I think, zoned at 4 transport routes. So all of those should be given out to public organized transport, where government has a relationship with those people. We develop the infrastructure, they provide the transport. The physical metropolitan physical planning authority, which we are yet to establish, now should really also plan in 5 years, like you've told us. We should have the bigger master plan of transport, of garbage, of sewage, of drainage, of the entire metropolitan. When you see floods going in Akivugo, how does this link to Lake Victoria? How does this link to Mukono? How does this link? Why is it that a few houses only in Kororo are the ones connected to the main sewer? Others have to struggle to build the other septic tanks. How do we link, for example, the entire Kampala on the main sewer? To me, here as Minister for Kampala, even much as some people were accusing me that I'm not anxious at joining the Wrangles and resolving them, I am a little bit disappointed. This should be the time to discuss those core ingredients of a world-class city.
World-class city. Let's talk about the world-class city. What are some of the things that we can expect to see with very little funding? Government doesn't give the authority enough money.
If behavior change,
to have a big change.
If really our people can, without even so much involvement of the police, if people can change their lifestyles and they don't steal our lights, it's very, very important. When you pass by Kororo, you feel crying now. I would sleep at Kororo more or less every night when we were preparing for the Jubilee. The whole stretch Acacia was lighting. Now, those lights were not temporarily put, but they've been stolen. So now, we all need to appreciate that we do not have money as a country to employ a full brigade of the police, or a platoon as they call them in the military language, to patrol the streets because of lights. They will accuse us of militarizing. If really, as Kampala residents, especially those who travel, you hear people traveling and say, but Kampala, I wish we can be like Kigali. What is so special with Kigali? Kigali is cleanliness. You get it?
They even have more traffic lights than we have.
Yes. So why can't people change their lifestyle?
And it's a small city.
Why can't people do parking? That's why KCCA is busy with fighting parking on pavements, road pavements, sides. Actually, someone made a conclusion.
Is it a bad thing? Legislators do that, so it might be right.
But you see, our legislators, are we the measure of excellence? You see? So actually, some of our roads are not narrow as people think. They get narrowed because a quarter of it is taken away by side parking. Yes.
Yes.
So, developers must be, and that's what KCC is doing. That's what the Metropolitan Physical Planning Authority must be speaking and engaged in. Developers must be obliged to provide for parking outside the road space, either underground or it should be incorporated within the upload spaces. Now, people who operate roads, if you go to Shugari downtown, by this time, every shop is collecting garbage. Their garbage stands, they are inspected. KCC is already planning all this. But you see, as they are moving into this, there's this diversion. I wish, I've been seeing some politicians launching cleaning days. How I wish that's not just for political show off. How I wish that's for staying.
But government has been blocking them. They organize people to clean garbage, then they address them about how not to glitter there, and then you stop them. It
depends on the context, really. If you want to clean the city and you won't,
then you talk to the people. Don't litter next time. After
that's true. That's true. Really. I wish that campaign.
It's more really.
Yes. I wish this a campaign. Minister, Lord Mayor, ED, including our president, we could all come in politicking. When it's time for politicking, see the good thing, what Uganda has reached. People now know the political geography of Uganda. We know who votes for where. The generation coming of Edmond and Frank and our children, really, in a few years to come, will not be looking at this drama. They will be looking for the political leadership group or party that has the best plan for reducing traffic in Kampala.
Yes.
Because they would have gone to Joburg, they would have gone to perhaps New York and New Jersey. They would be looking for that.
Yes.
You saw the Kenyan debate. Now, that's never before. People are beginning. I like the statement of one of the female candidates that no tribe, no religion puts food on your table. So the Kampala residents really, they do not want to know whether the management led by Musisi is full of NRM people.
Doesn't matter.
Or if it doesn't matter.
The Facebook generation wants results.
They want results. If I get a puncture as I am going home, I will pay my bills in the garage. I don't care whether the city is manned by FDC or NRM. I will cast whoever is there, irrespective of the party card I hold.
Right. What can we expect in the coming weeks and days?
Well, we are for me.
Weeks and months, actually.
Yes. The budget process is ongoing. KCCA is now strict on contractors. That's what I've been briefed.
Yes.
They've just terminated the contracts of some non-performing contractors. They are emphasizing, efficiency and completing contracts on time, which I like. And at the same time, my appeal to the political leaders, we can actually help the management by supporting their actions and then demanding them to account at the end of it all. If they don't, those actions even means
support their actions,
yes,
and then demand for accountability.
Yes. But if you interfere from acting, you invited me here for your show. If you gave me a fake microphone and then you are saying, you minister, you are not articulate, I will say you want me to shout and people hear me.
Like Jesus used to shout in the past. Well, maybe before we hear from the listeners, the Lord Mayor, we see photographs in the government newspaper. He's being investigated. You fight him this side, now you're fighting him in China. Why are you NRM people like that?
We're fighting him in China. We are not fighting him in China. Anyone, any person, has a right to defend himself. Who tells you that it's only NRM leaders who should be investigated? Anybody. That's why we've been saying, you people don't criticize corruption. Corruption has no color. Corruption has no tribe. And there is nothing like collective innocence or collective guilt. When I saw the story, I saw some photographs. I think it's incumbent upon the road mayor to explain himself. Yes, okay. People may think this is a political witch hunt, but if that is the case, NRM has been bashed and its leaders for a long time. Every action the president takes is blamed. Even now in Parliament, that was the debate.
Right.
Why did you cancel Dura? That means you support the corrupt. Well, if you are blamed and
Why did you cancel what?
Yeah?
Why did you do what?
I mean, like I was giving an example what was in Parliament today.
Yes.
Why did the president order the cancellation of Dura factory?
The Dura
I'm giving an example.
Yes.
I brought it as an example.
Yes.
Even when the president is doing his work of strategic guidance to the country.
It's covered with corruption.
Yeah, of course.
Let's hear from the
So
listeners.
the road mayor will get time to explain himself.
This is Spectrum on Radio 1 tonight. Our guest is Hon Frank Tumwebaze, the minister in charge of the presidency in Kampala Capital City. We're asking him how government raised the performance of KCCA 2 years on after it was taken over by the same government. Our number is 041 4348 111 031 226 0390 031 226 1390. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from as we call it. Spectrum, hello. Yes, sir, your name? Yes, Mr. Missindia. John Missindia from SETA. Go on. Hello. Yes, Max. Hello. Good evening, sir. Your name? Yes, Pinto.
Good evening, my friend, the activist of the farmers.
Yeah, now, what I appreciate you for the KCCA that's working and from the political support you are providing. But the bigger picture for good is that if you have seen Kampala perform effectively, you must help Kampala by building regional cities. And I want to see a policy and a plan by the government to build regional cities so that people and traffic does not come to Kampala for it. We should have regional cities for Western, Rural Uganda, Eastern, and Western.
All right, thank you very much indeed.
Good idea.
Spectrum, hello. Yes, sir. Your name? Good evening. Your name? Makolo Koma. Yes, your name? Good evening, sir. Your name? Yes. Who? Mr. Owere.
Yes, sir.
Spectrum, hello? Yes, sir. Your name? Who? Mr. Businji.
Thank you, my friend.
Final caller, Spectrum, hello? Yes, your name? Good evening, sir, your name? Bob in Tinders.
What exactly is happening on the roads between Western Towns and the whole government is that? And number two, when Pioneer came in, we welcomed them. We knew they were going to do something sensible. But now they seem to be getting frustrated. My question is, must we look at public transport as a business? Because the city council is charging them a lot of money.
start with Bob in China, and I really appreciate his questions. You can hear now the trend people ask, even the trend of the questions, not really politically smeared, but people are really looking at the beauty of Kampala and the solutions. Bob is asking, what is happening in the Serena Road, Crested Towers? A very good question, because they dug it up, it's really inconveniencing, but I want to assure him that they've now been removing the heaps of soil. They are working on it. Serena, with the sort I think from KCCA, was rectifying around there its drainage system, which I think is for the good of everybody. Of course, the inconvenience has been there. Maybe the weakness I think we have, and which KCCA and the developers must explain, is when those works are ongoing, they don't alert the public. Yes, be it by roadside store, whatever. I think that's a weakness. And this catches up with the way the utility people dig up the roads. Sometimes you don't even know whether
coordinated.
Yeah, sometimes you don't.
This is the telephone company, more it's the water company. After that is the electricity.
Even
you don't know
I think you could go and dig the road, and they think you're from Umeme. I think that's a challenge.
Maybe looking for gold.
Yeah, for sure. So that I admit it, and KCCA as well as the utility organizations, the electricity, those who pass underground cables and the water. That we take note of it. Must we look at public service business? I had said it. I think government is beginning to appreciate public service being a public good. But of course, given our national resources, we are not going to fully subsidize private companies. The subsidy can come in form of roads, okay, and we help them, give them the lanes. When you give them the lanes, you guarantee them exclusivity. You are guaranteeing them business over that road. They can take bank loans, okay? You are guaranteeing them business so they can charge rates you regulate. So when you regulate the rates, you are indeed providing transport as a public good. So really, Bob, I would even love to meet you in my office and share more of your ideas. Well, thank you for the compliment. Businje, some men are not doing work. Yes, I was in Washington some time back. There's something they told me that they call the mayor's pothole.
Oh.
Yes, when you find a pothole, you call the mayor of Washington, D.C., you earn yourself $100. Now, we're not going to do that here.
Oh.
Yes, that's what they do.
Some of us will leave our full-time jobs to do that.
Yes.
I don't make a fortune.
But you will not find it. Of course, in Kampala.
We'll try after 3 months.
Yes, they told me. They told me about it. So that now, you would really, Ugandans should take trouble of reporting some of those challenges. People not doing the right work at site. Just like you would also report people you find stealing our roadside. People trespassing in those beautified gardens. Because if you don't report them, then the following day you say, Kigali looks better. There's no magic in Kigali. It's behavior change.
Right.
Then Kavuma, you are not happy.
You gave Sebagala very little money. Now you throw the money.
That is not true. That's a room actually they are peddling here. The big money you hear MCC is getting, remove salaries because the structures have changed. That's point number one. The big part of the money is internally, it's local revenue. The Sebagala administration, the Seban administration were failing to collect this money. Either they were collecting it
and investing.
Yes. Musisi administration, the much talked about and criticized by a section, has managed to put together 52 accounts into a few, about 5 of them. So that's why internal revenue now comes in, it can be tracked. So what has not been done will be done. Wamboga Mugiria, a very good idea.
Regional cities.
Yeah, I entire support. Maybe that's good. So that's something. Because if you improve in Barara, if you improve...
People have no reason to come to Kampala.
That's for sure. That's for sure. It will be like China. Someone raging in Guangzhou, Beijing. They come here for fun. Maximum to me, I had some small things like he attending meetings. The AD attends meetings. There was a simple hiccup I had. At one time, because of the disagreements, I want to explain this because I personally intervened. At one council, that some councillors resolved to chase away the executive director.
Oh.
Yes. So the executive director wrote to me, and and I think I had been like a week in office.
How would you run out of that place? It's like a pit. You have to go up the stairs.
Yes.
It'll be difficult.
Yes. So they said, we are sacking you, we are recommending the president to take you away. So the ED wrote to me a letter and said, advise me on what to do, and tell me why you government must expose us to this harassment. If you, yes, well, these are managers really who had other jobs, and sometimes they ask hard questions. So I told them, I said, no, the council does not suspend you. Please go back and attend meetings. The problem actually has not been that. The problem has been failure to convene meetings.
All right.
This has been reviewed by the councillors. So John said, thank you so much. Thank you for being objective and for appreciating the improvement in Kampala.
Well, you've covered all the questions, but before we go, 2 questions. Prince Charles Road has been blocked. Our children go, some of them go to Lohana. We can't access that road anymore. Then the road between the Serena, the one in front of the American Embassy, it's been blocked. Then the road between the Serena Hotel and Imperial Royal. Those 2 roads, why not reopen them tomorrow by 9 o'clock?
That's the first one I don't know.
Prince Charles is blocked.
I am going to find out.
In front of the American Embassy.
Yes, I'm going to find out.
President.
I am really going to do that, and I apologize for that. The road actually between Serena and Imperial is open.
Oh.
I am telling only that there are those security checks. Before, and actually the MPs have been taking me on, once you complained over that road when you were a member of parliament, they were, you remember what was there?
Yes.
They were real
barricades.
Now
they have limited access.
Limited access for checking.
All right.
Because there is Serena here, there is a hotel, there are guests.
We have to go.
You stand through the inconvenience, but the road is there.
We have to go. Thank you very much, Dear Guest, Hon Frank Tumwebaze, Minister in charge of the presidency in Kampala Capital City. Thank you for coming to Spectrum tonight. Thank you for tuning in. I've been your host, Edmond. So Spectrum will be back tomorrow.
Thank you.
In English.
You are losing your MTN number if you don't register by the 28th of February 2013. They are going to cut it off with Papa, and you'll be there. Contactless, numberless, identityless. Basically, you'll be finished. Do you know what it means when you lose the number?